Welcome back to Spotlight. I want to welcome our guest, Mr. Walwyn, Mr. Penn. Welcome to Spotlight. It's good to see you. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I think it's shaping up that the economy, and I think we've known all along, that the economy is really the major issue.
Yes.
Education will always be an issue because education is the access upon which all of the things must turn. That's my personal view. And of course, health, you need health so you can produce. And you need social development, and we need law and order. You need to prevent crime and have a civil society.
Yes.
But all of those things are fueled by the economy.
Yes. Yes.
And there's a lot of promises going around, and you guys have been accused of making a lot of promises.
Yeah.
There are a lot of ideas: diversification of the economy, enhancement of the economy, getting new economic ventures like sports tourism and health tourism and all these other kinds of great ideas. Golf course, NDP is famous for their 5-star hotels and their golf courses. But these things are going to take 5 to 10 years before you could see the first dollar coming into the economy from those new endeavors and new initiatives.
Yes.
Good initiatives. I think we need money right now. I think the economy is sluggish. People having trouble paying their bills. A lot of local businesses are folding or struggling or teetering on the edge. Basically, we have working people who can't afford to make ends meet.
Yes. Yes.
So we need money in the economy right now.
Yes.
What is the short-term strategy for you as a territorial candidate, Mr. Walwyn, to get some money into the BVI right away?
Well, first of all, I would like to say good evening to the listening and viewing audience in the Virgin Islands. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be here this evening with you, and I hope that we can have a very good dialogue among us so that we can come up with the solutions to help to move our country forward. I'd also like to thank you, Edgewenka, for extending the invitation to be here tonight.
Yes.
It means a lot to us. We know you're going to ask us some tough questions, and we're well prepared. The economy, as you say, rightfully say, Edgewenka, is the issue for this election. According to Bill Clinton, he says, "What is the economy dummy?"
Stupid.
Stupid. Yes. Good. So we have to get the economy back on track. The International Monetary Fund, while conducting an exercise of one of the Caribbean countries a few months ago, indicated the quickest way for Caribbean economies to get themselves back on track is through tourism. And I tend to agree very much with that statement. The British Virgin Islands, for a number of years, we have been leading in that area. And it is sad to say, as we've seen, that we're falling substantially behind some of the countries that we're usually ahead of. For instance, July of this year was not a good year for us, and not a good month for us, but yet Barbados had 58,000 visitors in that month.
Yes.
So certainly,
I don't want to interrupt you, but tonight I'm not in the mood to have a long answer.
Yes.
Right?
You want to know what we're going to do?
And I want to get a lot of questions in.
No problem. Okay.
So I want to hear, we know all the problems.
So you want to hear what we're going to do?
We know all the problems. We know about Barbados. We know everybody in the Caribbean trying to get their tourism house in order. We know all the problems.
What are we going to do?
What you're going to do?
Certainly.
I need some money now.
Not a problem. We have devised, or I've proposed over the campaign, a 4-pronged strategy to get the tourism sector back up and running. The first one is for us to have a safe and captivating destination. Safe being the operative word in terms of getting our crime issue under control. Captivating in the sense of having more attractions for tourists to enjoy when they arrive. One of those such attractions could be our history, reviving our historical sites. I speak often about the Taunton House in Seacows Bay, which we know certainly would be a catch for American tourists. We have to get that going. The second prong, a sophisticated infrastructure is needed. We tout ourselves as a high-end destination. We have to get the sewage under control. We have to get the water problem under control. When our tourists come to a hotel room, they must be able to have a bath. We must have the issue with electricity under control. We must get the issue of service under control. You and I have been speaking on this for quite a while, and we together, while I was at the tourist board, and you being part of the HLSCC board, we were trying to put a program in place, and that is something definitely that we have to get done. We have to have convenient and affordable airlift, which means that we have to look at the issue of expanding our airport in this country so that we can get direct flights from our feeder markets. Or we can even, in the interim, look at forming relationships with other countries. For instance, Jamaica. Jamaica now has direct flights from China. Now, it's going to take a while for us to penetrate the Chinese market, but perhaps we need to start to have a conversation with Jamaica to see, perhaps, talk with them, see what they've done, and see whether or not we can get some of those Chinese tourists coming to the BVI from Jamaica. And then the fourth part of the plan is for us to have a carefully targeted marketing plan, making sure that we are hitting the right markets, making sure that we're looking at the emerging markets, making sure that we're doing sufficient research so that we can know how to get into the hearts and minds of those people to sell the British Virgin Islands, so that we can get quick returns on our dollars.
Okay. Now, enhancement of the tourism product and building of infrastructure, particularly, costs money to get done. And right now, this year, we've spent $29 million more than we have earned.
Yes.
So money is going to be an issue. So you're almost like in a catch-22. You need to enhance your product to make money, and you need money to enhance your product. So what is going to be your priority?
Well, there's some things that will require much more capital than others. For instance, looking at things like an airport, looking at things like roads and so on. Certainly, we'll have to look at a loan structure. The unfortunate situation that we have found ourselves in this country is that we don't have any real information at our hands in terms of what the true financial picture of the country is like. We have heard certain things only in the House of Assembly, but there are certain reports, like the Auditor General's reports for 2008, 2009, 2010, that we have not seen. So we don't know what the true financial picture really is. But what we can do is look at what the revenue streams have been over the last several years. Yes, the numbers have been down somewhat, I would imagine, because of the lack of forthrightness in terms of getting our tourism product and our tourism business certainly going. But the BVI historically has made decent money over the years, and a lot of it has been wasted because of mismanagement. A lot of it has been wasted. We've not been able to prioritize right. A lot of it leaves the country, and so on. So we believe, while we are trying to bring new monies into the economy with tourism, at the same time we have to properly manage the money that we normally get, because if we do that well, I think that we can get some of these projects going. Certainly we can't build an airport from cash flow. We will have to look at financing. Do we know truly what our debt to income ratio is? We don't know. But certainly we'll have to look at those things. We don't have all the answers because we're somewhat handicapped, like the people of this country are.
Airlift has been an issue for the longest. I remember a few years back when American Airlines pilots threatened to strike in America. The then BVA Hotel and Commerce Association wrote a letter to President Clinton asking him to do whatever was in his power to make sure that the American Airlines don't strike because we going virtually go out of business in the BVI. The suffering would have been unbearable for us to have no tourists coming into the country.
Yes.
That speaks to dependence, insecurity. To me, those are national security issues.
Yes.
When we continue year after year, term after term, to rely on outside help to sustain our livelihood. Regarding airlift, what can we do about airlift that will make us more secure and more sustainable?
Okay.
Well, if I jump in there a little bit quickly, Carmel, Edjuenka, I think the major thing with airlift right now, and first of all, I want to also say good evening to the viewing and listening audience on JTV and the wider Virgin Islands, especially the people of the 8th District. In terms of airlift, we all know the challenges that we're having with American Airlines. The planes that they use right now, I think is I don't remember the model of the plane, but I understand they don't travel. That plane doesn't fly anymore to a lot of the cities in the U.S. They have discontinued it in a lot of the cities in the U.S. So there's an issue of expanding the airport. We have to expand the airport. We also have to look at the possibility of getting other carriers other than American in here that have some similar planes that fly to and fro from Puerto Rico. But the main thing that we have to do is expand our airport so that we could bring bigger planes from the mainland U.S. or from some other Caribbean destinations like Jamaica, Trinidad, and those areas which have direct flights from Europe and the likes.
I think too, if you...
Yeah, you go ahead.
We probably need to have a discussion too with Mr. Bradworth.
Yeah, I agree.
To see what can be done. I know they're having some regulatory challenges right now with the different regulations that are imposed on them. But we have to find a way to get them through that because we're going to probably need their assistance. There's been talk about a national airline as well. That is something that we have to do a study about. Because we had ABVI before. We have to see what possibly went wrong and whether or not that would be more of a help or more of a problem to us. So certainly, yes, I do agree with you that we cannot have the country in a situation where we're at the mercy of American Eagle.
Exactly.
But we have to find a proper way to get to where we need to get to, and it requires thought and not a quick answer, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You talk about crime. We've had a few incidences, well, not a few, consistent incidences of robberies.
Yes.
And I think perhaps this year we probably have more murders than we've had in the history of the country. I mean, I'm not sure, but it just seemed like we had a lot of murders, we had a lot of robberies,
a lot of burglaries.
A lot of burglaries.
And theft.
Eugenia O'Neill sent me a list, and I don't think I have it with me, but she sent me a long list of break-ins on Main Street alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we all know that if tourists don't feel safe coming to the BVI, it's going to be a major blow to our economy.
Yes.
What are we going to do to make ourselves safe and in turn make our visitors safe or feel safe when they come? Or at least not to hear about all of the things that, what's happening here.
Well, I'm glad at least that you, on the last part of your sentence, you said what we will do to make ourselves safe as well. Because it can't just be about the tourists, it's just about ourselves and our pride in our country as well. One of the things that we have come up with, or I have proposed, and the team has adopted and will adopt, is a four-prong approach, again, to dealing with the issue of crime. Two are long-term and two are short-term. Long-term, early intervention, looking at detecting antisocial behavior in the schools very early, arresting it, working with children that are having difficulties, look into their lifestyle. Poverty, we know there seems to be a link between poverty and crime. There seems to be a link between educational failure and crime. And so we have to monitor those children and give them the help that they need early so that we can sort of change the behavioral pattern so that they don't grow with it. Prison rehabilitation is also an issue that we have to look at. If our children, if our citizens end up in the system, then what? You can't be in the prison sitting down having 3 square meals and do nothing, just waiting for your time to pass. We have to come up with a very serious, very well structured rehabilitation program for persons who end up at Balsam Gut. Those prisoners who do not have a high school diploma, it'll be mandatory for you to get one while you're there. And we will put in place a well-structured training program. You can learn air conditioning, you can learn mechanic, carpentry, and so on. The overall thing is to give you some sort of skills so that when you leave the prison, you can make something of yourself. Now, we're not going to just let you come out of prison even after going through this and leave you on your own. We want to set up a program where we follow you through the community to make sure that you find a job. Because if you have the skills and you can't find a job, you're going to end back up doing the very same thing. And we want to follow you, sort of put you on your training wheels and watch how you're operating until you get your life certainly back on track.
These are all good long-term ideas.
Yeah, I told you I had 2 long-term, I have 2 short-term.
Okay.
Good. Institutional support for the police, giving them the resources that they need. At that very same meeting that they had, that meeting that Ms. O'Neill was so good to put together with the Main Street businesses. We heard about some of the struggles that the police are having, the lack of financial support for a number of things that they need to do. The CCTV cameras and those sort of initiatives, the training for the police officers, issues of border control. There's been talk about creating a database so that we can know who we have in the country and so on. These are things that can help to address the crime issue as well. And then enforcement is very important. We have to send a very strong, unequivocal message to criminals that we will not tolerate criminal activity in this country. And if you do the crime, be prepared to serve your time in prison. We have to look at the legislation that is there right now, particularly with gun crimes, and make sure that we have a stiffer minimum mandatory sentencing. So we take the discretion essentially out of the hands of the magistrate and have it properly legislated that you spend a long time if you use an illegal gun and commit an offense.
I just want to say one point in terms of institutional support. I totally endorse Mr. Walwyn's 4-pronged approach, and I think the party has also endorsed it as well. And I know we've endorsed it as well. One of the things with institutional support and us putting the resources behind the police force, we need to have a clear strategic plan for crime fight in our territory. And I think that's where the National Security Council comes in terms of working with the key persons within the police force and have an overarching view and approach to how we're going to fight crime in the Virgin Islands. And I think we need to develop that strategic plan so that the resources are don't just fall in a black hole. We don't just keep dumping resources within the police force, but we have to see results and have a plan that says that these are the type of things that we're going to do and effectively fight crime within the territory.
You think that we have enough police officers? Because I haven't heard an increase in the size of the force. You think that, well,
in terms of the police force size, I think I'm not sure. I'll have to
yeah, about 200 police, we got 30,000 people. That to me don't make any sense.
I've heard some of the senior officers saying that they need more police. I've heard them say that. I am somebody who would like to, if a professional says something to me, I have to take it for what it is. But certainly, also being a business person myself, I know I have managers who work for me, and they say to me sometimes, we need 2 more employees. But when you go back and check, you don't need 2 more employees. You need to make sure the 6 that you have are productive. So that is why I think Marlon is saying we're not sure. But for the time being, we have to give the professionals the benefit of the doubt. But Marlon made a very important point when he spoke about the National Security Council and the importance of the National Security Council, because for the very first time in the history of this island, we can really use crime as a political issue. Years gone by, persons would say, or politicians would say, well, it's the governor's responsibility. But hey, now we have the National Security Council, where the Premier, along with one of his ministers, is on that, along with the Attorney General. The governor presides over it, certainly, and the police commissioner. we need to hear some plans coming from the National Security Council on what you're going to do
for crime.
to reduce the crime, the criminal activity in the country. We haven't heard that. But we have a plan that we've just outlined to you. And that is a plan that we'll work on.
Okay, we got to take a break for a word from our sponsors. I want to talk a little. I'm going to round off the economic issue when we come back, in terms of getting the marketing that you're talking about. You know, where that marketing is going to go and how it's going to be focused and targeted, so we could get results, immediate results. I want to talk about that, and then we're going to go to some A district issues, because you want to take the deputy premier's seat, and you need to say what is you think you could do better.
Okay.
So we're going to find that out when we come back right after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by CCT Global Communication, DataPro, Orion Law, Clarence Thomas Limited, Virgin Island Motors, and Bolo's Wholesale Cash and Carry.
Welcome back to Spotlight. This is a special edition of Spotlight. I'm Ejuenka, and I'm here with NDP at large, one of NDP's at large candidates, Myron Walwyn, and NDP candidate for the 8th District, Marlon Penn. And we are talking about the economy. The economy is a major issue this election. And I want to get right to the marketing end of it. You talk about marketing, you talk about China. 70% of our market share, 70% of our tourists come from America.
That's correct.
How are you going to manage that situation? And China is still a fair way off. And still we have to act quickly. How you're going to manage, what's going to be your priorities in managing the markets to get the tourists to come in?
Well, firstly, you're quite right when you said that 70% of our tourists come from the United States. And we also know that the country is in somewhat of a recession. But at the same time, we have to still recomb the U.S. market, because there are a lot of people still in the U.S. market don't even know where the BVI is, have never heard of it before. So we can't write it off.
But do they have money to come?
Yes, 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 because they're coming to Barbados. So yes, we still have to go back and revisit. There's some key feeder markets in the United States. We still have to go back in there and recomb. Canadian market is also a very good market, virtually untouched by the recession. Still very strong banking sector. People still have money. As a matter of fact, Cuba is living off of Canada in terms of tourist arrivals. So that's a good market that we can make an entrance into relatively quickly. It doesn't take a very long time to get here. Brazil, Argentina, very good markets again for us to carry out some research into. I think some work was being done over the last 2 years or so, looking into that market to see how we can get into there. I know some trips have been made, so we have to continue there. China, as you say, is some way off, but still you have to plan ahead. You have to start to do your research. You have to start to make your connections, whether you're going to use a marketing agency or whatever mechanism you're going to put in place to sell the BVI. But now is the time to do research. Also research in India, because India is also an emerging market, and we have to see how we're going to deal with those. But if you want immediate returns, I say you still go back to the United States, recomb, redouble your efforts. Canada, Brazil, Argentina, while you do some work in research and set up the connections with.
So those will be your priority.
Absolutely.
If I could add to that, Ejuenka, I would also look at the product itself. I think we need to repackage our product. I think one of the things that we've been selling the sun, sand, and sea, and everybody has sun, sun, and sea. So we have to look at what is unique of the British Virgin, the Virgin Islands, and how we could take that uniqueness of the Virgin Islands and create a niche for ourselves. We have the bats, which is very unique There's not many places around the world like the Bats, if any at all.
Yes.
We have a rich history, a rich colonial history. We have a rich Virgin Islands history. I could remember last year, March, we had a function at the Eastern Park, and we had one of our historians, Ms. Teacher Jenny Whitley, giving us a history lesson of Eastern and law, looking how the two districts and some of the things that went on within the district. The whole crowd was captivated by her telling those stories about Eastern Law. The kids went to the front of the stage, sat in awe and listened to her in those stories. And I think that's something that we could package and sell as well. Our history is rich, and we need to package it and sell it to our tourists when they come here.
So that would be an immediate thing you could do.
Immediate thing that we could do. That don't cost much money.
Yeah. Marlon is quite right. We have not been managing the tourism sector with a purpose. When you go to certain parts in the world, things are set up immediately for you to spend money.
Exactly.
But people come through our country and leave because we're not set up with a purpose. Why are we not getting the cruise ship tourists on Main Street? Why isn't that happening? Why are we not purposely making stops in places like West End, where there's so many bars and but there's so much culture? Why are we not having people stop, let's say, across by the Ridge Road, where there's that lovely wall that was done by Ruben Vanderpool, and develop businesses along there? We're not doing things with a real purpose. So people are coming in, yes. We're saying that the cruise ship passengers are not spending any money, but the problem is not that they're not spending. We're not taking the money.
Exactly, we're not offering.
And we have to set that up and do the same thing with our land-based tourists. Go finish. One last point I wanted to make as well, that we have to make a greater effort to do, is to create the linkages between tourism and the other little industries that we have in the country. Create the economic linkage between tourism and agriculture, the linkage between tourism and fishing. Right?
And what do you mean exactly by the linkage between tourism and agriculture and tourism and fishing?
What I mean is that rather than buying fish from overseas and giving it to a tourist, get the fish from the fishermen in a purposeful way, and do the same thing with the farmers. Get the produce from the local farmers. One of the things that we suggested on the last NDP radio was perhaps looking at creating adopt a farmer, adopt a fisherman, where you can put a particular farmer with a business and a particular fisherman with a particular business. Government making sure that connection is made, and we find a way to give some sort of incentive to the business, so at least you help the farmers in the absence of a market, because we need a market, but in the absence of a market, a central market, there's an immediate market there for them.
Before we move off of tourism and economy, I think as a point that I want to make, an important point, I know earlier in the segment you mentioned sports tourism as being a long-term measure. I think sports tourism could be one of those areas, I know actually, that we could use in the short term as well. Through track and field specifically, because I'm a member of the Athletic Association, we held 2 major meets here over the past, I think, 2 to 3 years. We had the Cut Games, and we had the CAC Junior Championships, junior age group games. Those games, each one of those track meet, the CAC games had over 200 persons coming to the BVI to represent the varying countries and their chaperones and their parents. All that is tourism dollars coming into the territory.
Yes.
The CUT games itself had over about 300 persons coming and chaperones bringing dollars to the territory. Those sports could bring a lot of dollars to the territory. We could also use our athletes here that go away to international meets. They go to places like Belgium, UK, they go to China, Singapore, they go all over the world. We could use our athletes as ambassadors for a tourism product in a meaningful, in a strategic way. So I think sports tourism has a great role to play in terms of selling the Virgin Islands, selling our product, once we package the product right, and making a destination, an attractive destination throughout the world.
There's also tourism, business and financial services that we have not been doing very well in terms of extracting. I'm happy to get again to see that Maria's by the Sea is expanding and doing their conference facilities. It's a very important thing that they're doing for the country, because I remember a few years ago when I sat as the chairman of the tourist board, the BVI paid for a program, for a conference, Society of Estate and Trust Practitioners. I think it was about 300 or so attorneys. And the BVI dollars, my tax money, your tax money, paid for that conference. And they were promised some 8 years before that they'll be in the BVI. And we had to hold, the BVI had to host a STEP conference in Puerto Rico with our tax money, because we didn't have the facilities to do it.
Yeah. Now, that's bring me to another question. You know, don't care what try to get out for the economy. It's like
it's important. Yeah, it's very important.
But NDP is known for its desire for foreign investment, and particularly in the area of conferencing and you know, all the whole big international market. The people got churches and various organizations go all over the world hosting conferences, and us wanted to get into some of that business. What is the NDP going to do about developing local people in those businesses? Because it seems like NDP is always focused on foreign investment. And when you hear NDP talking about investment, you hear them talking mostly about foreign investment, and you hear them talking about having a balance, having a balance, and the balance means foreign investment. And when you look at our tourism sector, 70% of the owners of the tourism economy is foreign, and 98% of the owners of the financial services economy is foreign. And so we are way behind in terms of balance and catching up. But yet you seem to want to have more foreign investment. Maria's spending a lot of money. I don't know how much money she's spending, but it's got to be a few $1 million well.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yeah, she's spending a few $1 million well. She's got to pay that money back to the bank. And you're going to bring in competition to take over her market share.
I don't think that's our focus. I think our focus is local business and local entrepreneurs. I think we need to, as much as we can, encourage more Marias, the likes like Marias and other hoteliers to put the infrastructure that's needed for a tourism product. And one of the areas I think where we lack down, where a lot of the locals don't want to, I mean, in terms of taking the risk, is that we don't have any real data in terms of the product and the needs of the product. I think we need to do a better job of collecting data of the needs of the tourism product in terms of the numbers that come in there, so persons could justify the investment in terms of doing an expansion like a Maria's or building a conference facility that can facilitate whatever conferences that are coming down the pipeline. I mean, we have to be consistent in terms of the product. Is for somebody local to invest $10–20 million, and then we don't have a consistent stream of business coming for that individual, and then they lose their investment. Or
you bring other companies to take up their market share,
exactly,
like what has been happening over the past several years. I mean, you want to weigh in on this?
Well, certainly, the focus of the National Democratic Party, as I understand it, and I know it very well, is to make sure that we work with our locals first. And our mantra is, if it can be done locally, we'll do it locally. Exactly. And that's not just in the tourism sector, but that's in any sector of the economy. We will try our best to help local businesses to get up to the level that we need to get to so that we can get business in. One of the things that one of the challenges that we recognize that our local businesses have is that of financing. And that is why the National Democratic Party had proposed the National Business Bureau that can assist businesses, existing businesses and new businesses, to expand and improve their products so that we can enhance the overall tourism product and the other industries in the country.
The Democratic Party initiated the Small Business Bureau.
Yes.
In 2003.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was 2003. But they did very little with it. They did very little with it. It was more or less a one-person operation, and I don't see any fruit that came from the Small Business Bureau. What is the quote-unquote new National Democratic Party going to do with what you're calling now the National Business Bureau?
In all fairness, first to the National Democratic Party, I wasn't a member or candidate at the time. But I do not believe it was initiated in 2003.
So I think
the program came into effect very close to the end of the term. And so by the time the new government came into place, there were certain things that were already in place, but it needed to go further. We needed to, as you said, it was only almost like a one-man operation. but we needed to get to the point where we had persons that could help in training, financial advising, and general business management and so on, so that you don't only just get the money, but you get the training to go along to make sure that you were successful. The plug-in that was needed between the Bureau and the Development Bank or the National Bank didn't happen. But we have a clear vision for that, and once we take office, that's one of the very first things that will be done. That National Business Bureau will be up and running.
So share some of the vision for the National Business Bureau. That you say you have a clear vision for the National Business Bureau. Share some of the vision for the National Business Bureau with us.
If I may, one of the things that we envisage a National Business Bureau doing is the very same thing that you talked about. If there are opportunities in terms of business opportunities within the Virgin Islands, those opportunities have to go to Virgin Islanders first. And we will be able to capture data in terms of different industries within the Virgin Islands and see where opportunities exist from a National Business Bureau. And by capturing of that data, you'll be able to advise potential business persons and entrepreneurs better. And for instance, if a young man wants to go into a car rental, we'll have sufficient data on the car rental industry and see what's in crunching numbers and advise to say, look, if you go into this industry, this is the market share, this is the amount of persons operating in this industry, this is the potential gain from this industry, so that that business entrepreneur can make a wise business decision. We're not going to stop them from going into the business, but we want to give them enough information so that they can make a wise and educated decision. And we will also have a well-staffed and funded business bureau where those individuals could have the technical expertise that they need to do their business plan, to crunch the numbers, to be able to prepare what they need to prepare, the financial statements for the banks, etc. The type of expertise that a business would need that a small business might not have. A small startup might not have that type of technical expertise. We envisage a National Business Bureau to have that type of expertise staffed within the organization.
There's a fine balance here now, because we have a lot of foreign businesses, a lot of foreign people want to come in and do businesses, particularly from Europe and America. And now England is getting in the mix. We have Bywater, we have Bupa, we have a friend of mine says the mother's now sucking the cow. The children.
That's a problem.
The mother's now sucking the children.
That's problematic.
Yeah. And coming in now and wanting to take our market share. We had Bywater come in and take over the market share of a local business. Bupa came in and take over the market share of a local business. How firm are y'all going to be able to stand against a UK government, a UK governor, a UK Foreign and Commonwealth Office that's going to be fighting? Because the governor is actually fighting for UK business in the BVI. I don't know if you realize it. What's going to be your position? Are we going to have to be yelling at y'all? Are we going to have to be marching in the street to get y'all to stand up and defend us?
Well, firstly, Marlon, I know you want to weigh in on this. Okay. But first, I want to make a correction on something that you said. That Bywater came in and took our business. Bupa came in and took our business. That's not accurate. The business was given to them. And that's why we're running here. Because as we said to you, we want to make sure the mantra for the new National Democratic Party is that anything that can be done by the local people of this country will be done by the local people of this country. If they don't have the expertise, they can buy in the expertise. It happens everywhere else in the world. Right? So it starts with the issue of leadership. And we are very serious when we say that. And we want you to hold us firmly to that. What I found very troubling was a few months ago when I was listening to the House of Assembly, I heard one of our legislators, I can't remember which one it was, that said that Bywater was a local company.
I think he's speaking tonight,
I don't know if maybe he misspoke or there was a slip of the tongue or something, but that didn't sound quite right to me. It's not a local company, as far as I'm concerned. But as I said, we will try our best, because first of all, they need a trade license to operate.
Yes.
How are they going to get it?
Well, you also have, I don't know if you realize that this is a colony.
Yeah.
And I know we like to say UK overseas territory and all the fancy words, but it's a colony, a British colony. And my view, and this is my personal view, and my, you know, where I'm looking and what I'm seeing developing, I am seeing the development of a United Kingdom Virgin Islands. And what I mean by that is, just like how you have United States Virgin Islands, I'm feeling, I'm getting the gut sense that the Great Britain is planning a United Kingdom Virgin Islands. That means that there will come a time, and particularly in light of the fact that we now have UK passport and UK citizenship, that is non-reciprocal, which is something that I think that will not be able to stand. Any UK citizen can challenge that in an international court and say, oh, you could say that these people are UK citizens and they could come to our country and get free education and medical care and all the benefits of our country, but we can't go to their country and open up a business if we want without having to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole and red tape. Have you all thought of where your position is going to be in the event of the call for reciprocity, one, and the ability for UK companies to become local? Because I might think that the Honorable Representative from the 4th District might be local, but it could very well be a foresight and vision. What's going to be the NDP's position?
Well, on the issue of reciprocity, the reason why... Not
just reciprocity, the whole issue of UK Virgin Islands.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. But on the issue of reciprocity, size was a component of that. But because of our size, we couldn't expose ourselves to the point where we had the influx of persons certainly coming into the territory. Yes, on the issue of companies coming in from the United Kingdom, it is certainly something that we have to look at. But even though we are, if we want to call ourselves an overseas territory, we want to call ourselves a colony, the jobs that we're applying for to the people today, we are responsible for the internal affairs, essentially, of the country. And any company that's coming in, whether a UK company or a US company, there are certain things that you must observe. Trade licenses and so on, and the other things are things that are done by the local government.
How are you going to resist the pressure of the governor?
Why we can't resist the pressure of the governor?
We have to fight, then that's what people protest into.
Okay.
You didn't resist the pressure of the governor.
Exactly.
I see you marching and carrying on. And you weren't in office.
Yeah. So I ain't going to match and carry on.
And fight for the people of this territory.
To protect the people of this country.
Exactly.
Okay, we got to take a break. And we're going to come back with you specifically, Mr. Penn, because I know your pitch isn't good, but you got your own cross to bear. We're going to come right back with more Spotlight right after this.
This program is sponsored by the law firm of J.S. Archibald & Co. and by the trust company J.S. Archibald Trust Services Limited, both of Roadtown, Tortola, BVI.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm going right to it because we're going to start getting terrorized by the clock. My neighbor Stringberry in the 8th district.
So is mine up Chapel Hill.
Okay, so, and my whole family in the 8th district.
Yeah.
And over the last 15 years I've been in the BVI, it seems to me that no matter who go in the 8th district, we not getting the proper representation. This is my view.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing I have to ask you, do you want to be a minister?
I'll do whatever the country needs of me, whatever the 8th district and NDP needs of me.
Well, you're gonna do what the country needs of you.
Yeah.
So what the 8th district need?
I said that as well. I'll do what the 8th district needs of me to do.
Okay, because as far as I could see, ministers who have districts
don't work.
They ain't working. We've been having ministers for God knows how long now in the 8th district, and it seems like the ministers are preoccupied with the national issues, and we can't get nothing moving in the A district.
I will humbly disagree with you on this one, Brother Duran. I feel personally that the problem that we've had in the A district for many years is that our representatives never had a plan for the district, a plan for how they want to see the district develop. And if you have a clear focus in terms of how we want to see the A district, and the people are on board with that development, regardless of whether you're a minister or not, that should not deter you from implementing the plan for developing the district.
You have, let's take our current representative.
Okay.
She is in charge of health and social development.
Okay.
Perhaps, if not the biggest ministry, certainly one of the biggest ministries. The hospital, the Health Authority alone is over 400 employees. And the whole territory needs help. She got a bunch of islands to take people back and forth from and take care of them. And all the social issues that we have developed. I mean, what isn't she doing? You only want to give her one term. Right? What could she have been doing as a minister that would have been any better than been any better? And what can you do better given that kind of situation?
I get your point. First of all, the minister should have been more visible in the district and understand the concerns and the needs of the district and having a plan to address those issues that our district face. As I said on my launch speech in July, the 8th district represents the next wave of economic opportunities for the Virgin Islands. We have the waterfront development, which I feel is one of the most major developments for this territory in the coming years to come. We have the airport expansion, which is also in the 8th district. We have Trailers Bay, which is another important component of the tourism product, which has left undone. So I feel if what we need in the 8th district is somebody whose foot is on the ground, whose ear is there to the pulse of the people, understanding the concerns of the people, and having a plan and implementing that plan, and have a team around you to implement such a plan for the people of the district.
How's she going to be in the district and she got national issues to do?
The district issues are not separate and apart from the national issues. A lot of the things that affect us at a national level affect us at the district level as well. The issue of sewage, that's a national issue. That's not an 8th district issue. The issue of sewage is a major problem in Roatan and all throughout the Virgin Islands. We have not made any significant progress on the sewage project since 2007, especially in the Greenland area, where Greenland and Landlocked area specifically, where all the pipes are already laid in those areas, all the major pipe work has been done in those areas, and the problem in Greenland is worse than it was 4 years ago.
She expanded the project up to from Chapel Hill. So the Landlocked project became a whole Eastern Landlocked project. You think that's a mistake?
I don't think the expansion of the project is a mistake. I think we need to prioritize in terms of we had already spent in excess of several $7 million in the Greenland Landlocked area. I think our priority should have been to put in place the sewage treatment plant, which lies right now in Paraquita Bay. I think it is right now, wasting away. That plant was bought since 2007 when NDP left office. We should have properly structured how we're going to implement the sewage treatment plant. If we had gotten the plant in place, all right, starting from 2007, when the minister took office, we could have had the main infrastructure in place. We could have had Landlocked and Greenland area being treated right now, and then we'd have been just in time to start expansion in the greater eastern area, the Major Bay, eastern proper Chapel Hill areas. So I think the priorities with the project is what was a problem. I don't think expanding the project is a problem. I know that the NDP had a vision already to expand the project into the eastern area. So I don't think that's something that will happen, that's new.
You know that the waterfront project they've been there before you born?
Yes, so I've heard. My dad told me about it, so I've heard, yeah.
And we can't get the waterfront project fixed. And I don't know how much. I don't know how much of it is the politicians' fault. How much it is the district people fault themselves. Because you have a serious matter there on the waterfront where I want down in front of my house to belong to me. when it comes to the waterfront.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to, when the development come, I want to be able to develop there, and if I can't develop it, I want to be able to rent it out to somebody who could develop it. I want to get some kind of money from down in front of my house. And everybody in the district feel like they have the right of first refusal to the waterfront in front of their house. How are you going to solve that problem?
I think the first way to solve that problem is dialogue. I think we need to have a dialogue within the district in terms of meaningful dialogue in terms of how we want to develop this project. We have to develop the project in totality, not just for the persons, right there in the district, but for the entire Virgin Islands. I think that project, I know that project in itself is significant to commerce within the 8th district, and we can't do the development in a piecemeal approach. So we have to have a comprehensive development plan for the entire project. We have to look at the services that the 8th district in particular needs and the Virgin Islands need. We're talking about tourism earlier. A lot of the tourists pass through and from the 8th district, but none of the economic activity from tourism really stays within the 8th district, say for probably the charter yacht businesses that we have there. Majority of the businesses either go to King Garden Bay or go further down. We need to create the services and the products within the 8th district that the tourism sector need and commerce on a whole need. The 8th district has the largest population combined in terms of Landlook and Eastern proper. We have over 3,000 registered voters between the two districts. And you're talking about the expatriate community that we have lived there and kids and so on. We're looking at about 7,000 to 10,000 customers. These are customers. So in turn, we need to find services within that district that we need. We had one bank operator within the district. There was a robbery, God forbid, unfortunately it was a robbery. The bank closed and has not been reopened since, and that bank served the district well. We need to have dialogue with the banks. He said, look, we need your services within the district. We need to have a pharmacy for the elderly within that district. We don't have a pharmacy, and a lot of our elderly have to go to Road Town to get their medication. We don't have the courier system to send stuff to and from the 8th district, and this is the largest customer base within the entire Virgin Islands. So we need to develop that waterfront with commerce and with the whole Virgin Islands and the 8th district in mind, and the services that we need to offer within the district.
How are you going to get people to agree?
You have to sell. It's my job to sell a plan to the people. First of all, I have to have a plan to sell. And I think more for the past, before I was born, I think we never sell the service side of the plan. I think we need to have a master plan for the area and show the persons or the residents and the landowners in the area how they could benefit from this master plan. If it is that they can develop the areas themselves, then so be it. But we need to have a master plan for how we want to see the 8th district, the waterfront developed, and how we want to see that area developed. One of the areas I feel is really needed in terms of that waterfront project is a boatyard. The 8th district per capita has more boaters than anybody else.
But you have a boatyard in the district? What are you going to do with a boatyard in the district?
And that's my point. And it's not about to bring a new boatyard. It's about to partner with existing areas. We could talk to Mr. Letsom. He has a perfect opportunity to generate revenue within his boatyard. So we would, and that's where the National Business Bureau comes in as well, to work with Mr. Letsom and say, look, you have a golden opportunity here. We have over 1,000 sailing yachts here in the Virgin Islands, and we have 2 major boatyards. The 8th district represents about 6 marinas in the 8th district alone. If you the 8th and 7th, if you include Hodges Creeks. And we need to have a boatyard on this side of the island, where the boats don't necessarily have to go to Nanny Key or go to Road Town to get repaired. That's jobs for painters, jobs for fiberglass men, jobs for mechanics, and create jobs within our economy. Right now in the 8th district, we have young men between the ages of 18 to 30, underemployed or unemployed in large numbers. You're talking about over 40–50%. I sit with these guys every day, and not that they're not looking for jobs. These guys are actively looking for jobs. I help them develop resumes, send out resumes. They're not getting jobs.
But, well, you have the whole notion of looking for jobs just in the district. I don't know. Is that something you're gonna stick to? Looking for jobs in the district?
I don't think they're looking for jobs.
Are they trained? Are these young men trained? Are these young men in the 8th district trained to have a job?
And it's also a plan to develop what we call a skills academy. And what this skills academy do is develop the skills needed for this economy in terms of the sewage project. The Seward project is a perfect example of how we could develop the skills of our young people. We have need for surveyors, we have need for plumbers, we have need for different technical needs that we have for this project. If we could take these young men who are there sitting idly while this project is being developed and put them, and even if we have to pay a premium to get them integrated into these projects and get them integrated into this development, and give them a chance to develop the skills that particular as our apprenticeship program within that sewage project itself. So we're getting value for our money. We're getting the sewage problem addressed. We're developing skilled plumbers. We're developing skilled surveyors. We're developing all the different skills that we need, so that in turn, after these projects are finished, these guys go in turn go and do other private work. They don't necessarily have to go and look a job. They could be job creators instead of persons looking for jobs. Because now they have the skills required to go out and earn a living for them and their family.
We're watching Spotlight, of course, and we're going to put the phone numbers on the screen for you to text and to call. You know, now is a good time to get in. We're going to go till 10. So don't wait too long, because we're going to soon fall on the turn of the clock. But I want to get these guys to answer some questions here. Last NDP term, it is said that the NDP appointed a mayor in the Eastern Landlock area, and that everybody what came, every job that came to the district had to go through this mayor, and this mayor pick and choose arbitrarily who he wanted to give jobs to. Some people were getting, some people weren't getting, and this is not a particular situation to your district. Every district had the same problem. How are you going to, one, get jobs, you know, contracts coming into your district? Excuse me, and if when the contracts come into the district, when the work develops in the district, how you're going to get that distributed? How are you going to distribute that among the residents of the district? And even if you had to go outside to get some work for a contract that's in another district, how are you going to? Do you have a plan to get these things handled? You have a little time to you say by the phone. You have a little time to think about that. Thank you very much for calling Spotlight. Go right ahead, please.
Hello, good night.
Yes, my brother.
I would just like to say that it's a very, very good show that you guys are having there tonight. I mean, and the candidates, I mean, these guys seem like they're really on point, on ball, and they seem like they're really from the same party and they're really gelling together. I mean, if this is a view of what the rest of the party has to offer, these guys really knitting together. And I also like the whole questions to Mr. Marlon Penn as well. I mean, you're really grilling him about the 8th district, and he's giving some really good comments. And about the families and all that kind of stuff, he really made some really good points, and I'm really glad that he brought these issues, and I'm really glad that the host as well is asking some really good questions, and that's just my comment. You guys seem to be doing a really good job. So thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Question about the mayor.
Well, let's forget the mayor.
Yeah.
But the general question is how are you going to manage your district in a way where there's a fair distribution of the wealth coming into the district?
First of all, I want to dispel the rumors that are going around there that if I am elected, there's going to be some kind of mayor running the 8th district. I want to make it unequivocal that if I am elected, the only person to run the 8th district is Marlon Penn, along with the residents of the 8th district. I just want to make that clear first of all. In way of contracts, we will have a transparent process for disseminating work within the district. We're not going to disseminate work based on NDP supporter, VIP supporter, PPAD supporter, or independent supporters. The economic activity within the 8th district is for everybody within the 8th district, regardless of who you support politically. And that's an NDP's position across the board, not just specific to the 8th district. We believe in building a nation. And you can't build a nation with a party. You have to build a nation together. So all of us in terms of NEP, VIP, PPA, when the political season is over, we're back to nation building. Or priority one as a new NEP government is to build this nation. And we have to build this nation together. And we will have a clearly defined, transparent process for disseminate work so everybody gets their fair share of economic activity within the territory.
Now, if I was elected in a district, I would feel that one of my responsibilities is to get jobs for my people. And sometimes, all of the jobs don't originate in the district. And all your people in District 8, people have to go to District 4 to look work sometime and vice versa. How you see that playing out and in terms of a country?
I personally feel, Ejuwenka, that politics have polarized everything within this territory, where you made a very good point in terms of now that it seems like if you live in the 8th district, you can't walk nowhere else in the 8th district. I think we have to break down those walls, because if the government has, let's say for instance, $20 million or $60 million concentrated in some developments in Rural Town, and that's the bulk of the government's investment for that year on capital projects or whatever, that means that the rest of the district will go hungry because only 4 district persons supposed to do the work there. I think that's wrong. The version is for everybody, and we have to find a fair way to distribute the work within the whole territory, and stop these political divisions and divisions across districts. We've separated ourselves too much as a people. In these tough economic times, it is time for us as a people to unite, come together, and work together for the common good of this territory, regardless of which district you live in.
Okay, let's go to the text. All right. Can Myron tell the people what is his plans for the prison? Former chairman of the prison committee, for sure it got issues at that prison, and Virgin Islanders are being treated unfairly. What is your intention if elected? What will be done to remedy the problems at prison? Please don't act as if it all well at prison or people suffering. Okay, so there's some challenges at the prison. I'm not quite sure what they are. One of the concerns, I think, of some people is that we had a local brother who was working in the prison, who went away to school and came back with the capacity to manage the prison, but it was given to another local brother who wasn't born here. Let me put it that way. Right? That's your issue.
Yes. Well, the caller wasn't specific in terms of what are the problems that they're having and who is suffering. So I'm not sure how to tackle that question. But if, let's say, it's the employees, let's say it's the work.
I think it's employees.
Well, there is right now a structure in place. Politicians are not in charge of the civil service. So I would suggest that if those employees are having difficulties with their boss, that they go and see the deputy governor or the governor, make an appointment and deal with that at that level.
Well, certainly I ain't going to get away with the answer, because the politician representing the people. And while the governor runs the civil service, the politician have no role in representing the people in an unfair economic situation.
I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time I'm severely handicapped because I don't know the full details of the question.
Well, forget about the question.
Yes.
Because I think this question is a general question, is specific to the prison.
Yes.
Where BVI landlords are perhaps not getting their fair share to work there, or they're not moving up the ladder the way they should, and so he's seeing some challenges there that need to be solved. So regardless of what, you have that particular specific situation, but you have the situation all over the place. So as a representative,
certainly as a representative, you have to hear what the concerns are, and make representation on behalf of the persons who are aggrieved at the right place.
I mean, you got Little Dicks, you got a bunch of hotels and you know, I mean, Edmund and myself we have a list of stuff. I have a list of stuff at my phone with all kind of people who are angry and frustrated.
I follow you, but the two things are different. Little Dicks is a private entity. You can go to Little Dicks and you can go immediately to whoever the manager there and represent your people. With government, it's slightly different.
So you can't go to the governor and to the deputy governor and represent your people?
You can do that as well. You can do that as well. But whatever the problems are, the bottom line is this. I'm answering on a hypothetical situation. The bottom line is simply this. Representation is broad in scope. All right? And if our citizens are being aggrieved, taken advantage of, that is part of our responsibility as well to make sure that we bring an end to that. And that is what we will do. Whatever it is, we have to do.
Okay. Let me get this one out of the way. Good night. This question is from Mr. Myron. Once you are elected, what are your plans for Anegada? What are your plans for the Anegada, Mr. Myron?
I took a visit to Anegada. The most recent one was about 2 months ago, and I must say that I was impressed with what I saw, and I was impressed with the type of persons that are in Anegada. Very hospitable, very helpful people, and there's a lot of talent over there. For instance, pottery. I went to several homes that had pottery, where they were making pottery in their little areas and so on. Yes.
Good night, you go.
And
hold on, Carl, just a minute.
There's talent there. Point is, tourism. They need to get their share. They need to get their share of the tourism business. We have to find ways to. One of the problems one of the impediments to the increase in tourism over there is reliable A and C link over to Anegada. That is something we have to take a look at, because there's a lot to do over there, and if we get the settlement well developed over there, it can be very, very attractive for tourists. I know there are concerns for the fishermen in terms of bringing their food to their catch to market and so on. There's some things that we have to do to assist them there as well.
We have two local brothers again. Our people being disenfranchised. This is what this text is talking about. Our people being disenfranchised left and right.
Tell me.
And we have the Bratton brothers who used to fly regular flights to Anegada. I mean, and you're talking about airlift.
Yes.
And I hear you talking about them.
Well, I recall very early in my tourism answer saying we have to go and talk to Bratwith. I don't know if you heard that part. I did make that very clear.
You did make that point.
And as it relates to Anegada, we will talk to Bratwith again.
As well, yeah.
You did make that point.
Yes.
Okay.
So call on the line.
Oh, call on the line. Yes, Carla, go right ahead, please. Thank you, Madeline. Go ahead, Carla. Thank you for calling Spotlight.
I have a question that concerns the election date has been given. There are friends of mine and other people I know that work for the government that at that time of the election will be away on government business and assigned duties, and they've been told that they cannot vote. This is a nonpartisan, call. It's basically, is there no contingency plan within the electoral system that allows people who work for the government, who are away on government assignments, to vote before they go, if they're, away at that time, or allowing them to vote? Because otherwise it's extremely discriminatory if you're working for the government and you're going away and working for the government, but you are not allowed to vote.
Okay, thank you, caller. Let's get an answer to that. Thank you very much for calling.
I agree with the caller entirely.
Is that true?
I can't say.
I guess you imagine if you're away.
I can't say that it's so. I know there's early voting, so the early voting is normally for seniors and so on. I don't know how was it? What, 2 days before?
Normally it's a week, like the week before the election.
The week before.
Well, we have the tourist board, for example. We got the BVI lenders all over the wall.
Yes, it's something to look into. It's certainly something to look into.
You need to check it out and make it known to the public.
I hope somebody from the elections office is listening.
Yeah, so I know we had some amendments to the legislation, Elections Act recently. So
it's a serious matter.
So we have to look to see if there's anything dealing with proxy voting. Yeah.
Yes. How can we have long-term plans and independence is not even a topic of discussion? Independence should always be on the agenda. We planning like as if, we are adults. Thank you for calling Spotlight. Can you hold a moment, please? We talking like we are adults, and the fact of the matter is that we still children living in our parents' house. I like to make that analogy. Because, my father always said, if you want to be a man, like what two men can't live in the same home. You gotta go out and you gotta get your own house. So this scholar is essentially saying that we keep talking about all these long-term plans and we don't have our own house.
But we also, if we want to use the analogy that we're children, then we're children with a lot of latitude.
Okay.
Because we can do a lot of things in this country for ourselves. Certainly, the issue of independence is an issue for national discussion, in my opinion. We have never had a referendum before in this country, but I think that may be one of those things that you need to have a referendum on. Even in my discussions with people, it is not. There's some quarters that are bringing it up, but in the majority of persons that I've met, independence is not a big issue on their minds. I don't know if maybe I'm not touching with those persons, but I don't know if anybody agrees or disagrees with me. But I've not been hearing that as a hot button issue at all.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Thank you for calling Spotlight. Go right ahead, please.
Hi. I'd like to ask both candidates this question. Last week on your show, you had the Minister of Education, and the question was asked about the grades to these schools if he lowered them, and he admitted to curving them. He said this is something that has been done for years in his defense. I had a conversation this weekend with some young ladies who claim when young BVI, especially graduates out of high school, send forward their CVs and resumes, they are so poorly done that they can't even think about hiring them because of how poor the standards is. What would you guys, when elected, how you guys think you would rectify the situation? I'll hang up on this again.
Well, thank you very much for that call. That's exactly where I was going, to education next. Yes, excellent question.
You start off that.
Well, I've heard what the caller said. I didn't hear what the minister said because I didn't listen to. I didn't watch your entire show. I caught it very late. My humble apologies. My humble apologies for that. But I'm sure there are replays and I'll catch it.
There goes your multi hat.
I'm sure I'll get it back tonight. but yes, what the caller has been saying in terms of complaints coming in from business persons, I myself have heard that, and I must say I've experienced it myself in my own business. That at times. Some of the rudimentary skills that you expect to be there are not present. So to me, it speaks to the education system and the quality of the system. And there are a number of things that we need to do. I think one of the good starting points is to look at the teachers that we have. Look at the quality of teachers. I must say it was a good thing that the minister did when he got those persons to get the bachelor's degree in teacher education and so on. So we have to continue to train our teachers. And one of the things with teaching, because I taught, that was my first job out of school, and I quit like in a year and a half. You have to have, that's a noble profession and you have to love it. It can't be just another job that you're looking for. And so we have to make sure that we have the right people teaching. We have the biggest and the brightest people teaching because you're investing in a national security matter in terms of productivity and profitability of the country and the local businesses. So yes, we have to look at that. We have to look as well as the curriculum. There's some work that needs to be done. One of the biggest things with the curriculum that I'm concerned about is its relevance. It has to be a more contemporary document, taking into account where we are in this global village, what is important in the BVI. We've spoken much about tourism and we know financial services. We have to start to expose our students at a very early age to that sort of thing. We have to also, as you can look at the facilities. Because as you would know, the facilities are very important in terms of the overall learning experience. We've not done a good job in terms of managing the facilities and doing the remedial works that are needed on a lot of these facilities. So students come to school in very uncomfortable situations that affect their whole learning patterns. I know you want to add, but we want to make learning fun. Learning has got to be fun. And so we have to come up with creative ways innovative and creative ways to teach the children. Smart boards, laptops. You see students are into their Wiis and their Nintendos and so on. You have to use those technological advantages to help you to get the education process across to students. I don't know if
just before we go on break, I just want to, my colleague touched on most of the key areas, and I just want to touch on one area that he didn't mention. Is that a parent? I know that. Okay. Is that a parenting? I think parents has a huge responsibility in the early development of our kids in terms of the education system. As parents, we need to cultivate a love of learning among our kids from early. For me, I have a young son. What me and his mom do is that we get him involved in a lot of educational things early on. And right now, he'll come to my iPad. The first time I got the iPad, I myself couldn't use the iPad. My son took the iPad up, turned it on, and looked for the games and all the stuff on the iPad. And he loves reading. So in terms of that type of development. So you have to, as parents, we have to cultivate that love of learning and that love of always want to find out and be inquisitive as young people, so that when they go to the primary schools and the high schools, they already have that drive to want to learn and continue to learn within the school system as well.
Well, you put yourself in a hole there, and when you come back, you're going to have to dig yourself out of
that hole?
Yeah, out of that hole.
I got you.
So
that's what a new NDP about, solutions.
Yeah, you hope I got some. You keep it locked right here, the spotlight. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, Brother Penn gonna have to dig out of that parenting hole that he just put himself in. We're gonna be right back. Keep it locked.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, the Radio Doctor, Tortola Concrete Limited, and Varieties and Electronics.
Welcome back to Spotlight. If you just joined us, I'm Ejuenka, and I'm here with Mr. Myron Walwyn, at-large representative with the NDP, at-large candidate with the NDP, and Mr. Marlon Penn, 8th District candidate with the NDP. And the good thing about JTV now is that if you've just joined us, you can go to jtvlive.net and you can see the program in its entirety after the show. So that's
utilizing technology.
Yeah, that's a great advantage that we have. So don't feel bad if you miss some of it. But you can call us, you can text us. That's the numbers on the screen. We left off talking about education. We talked about education. We had our economic discussion. And Mr. Penn, you were talking about the component that Mr. Walwyn left out, which is the parenting and how the importance of the parents. And I can't agree with you more, because I have noticed that the students whose parents are involved in their education are the students that are having the most success. Most success. Thank you for calling Spotlight. Hold on for me for a minute, please. Okay, they're having the most success. We have, but the poor parents, and not only you, but I heard the Minister of Education with the same thing, talking about the parents, this and the parents that, and the parents have to work 2 jobs. Matter of fact, a lot of the parents have to neglect their children in order to feed them. And a lot of times, some of those parents didn't have the advantages and the opportunities that you had. and we had.
I agree.
In terms of education, in our own parenting, we come from a long line of two-parent families.
Yeah.
You know, and so we were fortunate in that way. How are you going to address that particular? So that's a very important social issue.
I think it is a very important question, Edgewanka, and it is no secret that the Virgin Islands facing some serious social problems. We had a social sector report which said that over 21% of our residents live below the poverty line.
Don't give me the statistics.
I'm coming home.
Okay.
I'm coming home. Give me a chance. So, with that, in light of that, we need to find a way to help cushion the burden for some of those parents, those families that are living within those circumstances. So, the social development, which I know have some very good programs in place to assist parents, to assist families, but those programs need to be properly funded. And properly structured to assist the families so that the families in need really get the assistance that they need so that they could spend some more time focusing on the kids' education and pulling themselves out of that whole situation of poverty. As we're on the topic of education, it is said that education is the greatest equalizer. Education is anyone's ticket out of poverty. So we need to push and enforce the importance of education.
But it ain't all the parents in poverty. You know, you have some parents just, we think that parenting, you're born with, once you get a child, you automatically learn how to parent, and that's not the case. So you have some people who doing quite well, but that doesn't mean that they know how to parent.
And then we need to create support groups, support networks in terms of parenting. I know as well the social development, which I'm a member in terms of the Big Brother Big Sister programs, in terms of the mentorship program. They have programs in terms of parenting programs, and we also need to encourage parents who are having challenges or having difficulties in terms of parenting and stuff like that to go to the social development and get that assistance that they need in terms of parenting measures. And we also need to work with each other and help each other. I remember growing up in Eastern, you could attest to this. We all raised each other. The parents of the community raised everybody.
Your grandmother in particular?
Exactly. My Miss Mary, she looked up for everybody, and everybody keeps telling me now that I'm campaigning, what Miss Mary did for them. And your mother and your father, a lot of different parents in the community, Miss Baby and all of those, helped raise the community. And we don't have that type of community anymore.
Well, you're going to have to talk to me about bringing it back. Let's go to the phone. Thank you very much for calling Spotlight. Right ahead, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to make a particular observation and commend the candidates, because I think going forward, what our country needs is clear direction and clear vision.
Yes.
And the observation that I would like to make after listening, I'm listening to the VIP and what they have to say. And it seems like most of their claim to fame is in the past and not so much what they're going to be doing in the future, versus these two gentlemen that you have here, who I guess are representatives of the new NDP, who at least are putting forth some vision, some direction, some plan. I heard Mr. Penn speaking a lot about the master plan for the A district and what needs to be to develop that and to bring the people of the A district into that vision. And so I wanted to call and commend them for at least giving hope for the future and at least showing in some way where they plan to take us from where we are, instead of constantly looking back as to just what was done. And I think that's very commendable. So I call to give a comment and to lend my observation to say, I'm of the clear opinion that you cannot lead a country looking back on your past accomplishments. Even though your past accomplishments may be good, we want to know where we're going, how we going to get there, instead of just asking, where's the money coming from? So that means we can't plan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that call.
Thank you very much, caller.
Yes, appreciate that.
That's very good.
Mr. Penn, I'm behind you 100% because I believe Ms. Penn is not effective. But I heard a question about running a district and ministry at the same time. Why? A minister cannot be a district representative because one will end up lacking, and most times is a district. A ministry is a serious responsibility.
Okay. It's a comment.
Yeah, that's a comment. You don't want it to be a minister. We're tired of having ministers.
You want me to run a district?
Run a district. That's what you elected to do, run the district. If you want to run the ministry, you
run at large.
Run at large. I tell you, my name is swing very.
You read very Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I read very Chapel Hill. If NDP is elected in the up-and-coming polls, would you revisit those two hotels at Beaver Island and Smugglers Cove? You understand the question?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hit it.
Well, certainly we have to. We have to revisit them and see what the possibilities are. I know particularly the one in Beaver Island. I know a judgment came in about it, and I think the judgment was also overturned in terms of that area being a fisheries protected area. I think the reason being that it wasn't protected by legislation, but be that as it may, it is still a very important area, and the development will have to be scaled back to account for that.
Are you going to act immediately to protect it as a fisheries protected area?
Absolutely.
Without question.
Absolutely. That's inherent in what I just said. Even if it doesn't have that status, it needs to be observed. No problem at all. There's no question about it. No question about it at all.
But seriously, you all have to have something.
Oh, absolutely.
Be out in the streets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is, the overall thing is, Edrenka, if there are problems facing the country that citizens feel so strong about, that they have to march about it, take you to court, you have to stop and listen.
Exactly.
Okay. So, and the hotel in Smugglers Cove, well, you revisiting it. Let me get hopefully to get this caller this Texas some satisfaction. You revisited it from the perspective of making Hans Creek officially fisheries protected area.
Absolutely.
But there's also the development portion of it. How are you going to treat with that?
Well, in all fairness to myself and Marlon, we don't know much about the intricate details of the plan. We know that we've just talked about, and we've said to you very clearly that we will make sure that area is a fisheries protected area. We have to make sure whatever development is taking place does not affect that. But again, the devil lies in the details, which we basically don't have at this juncture. But the point is that we will revisit those things. We will look at them as well to make sure that if there are opportunities for our local people to benefit directly from it, that we will make sure that happens.
Okay. Thank you for calling the Spotlight. Go right ahead, please. Go right ahead, please.
Hello. Good night.
Good night.
I was the one that texted Mr. Walwyn, but I wasn't talking about the workers of the jail. I was talking about inmates.
Oh, you're talking about the inmates?
He was a visiting committee chairman.
Yes, I was.
He was a prosecutor. He is a lawyer now.
Yes.
You know the issue that they have. He is a young man that people love and have a lot of passion and thing for young people.
Yes.
What is your vision? I have a vision for everything.
Yes.
For there. Can you been there? You get hands on.
Yes.
You know you have issues.
Yes.
Don't act like you don't know you don't have any issues. And everybody's talking about rehabilitation this, rehabilitation that, and you know for a fact there's nothing there.
Yes.
What is NDP plan and what is your plan?
Okay.
I would listen.
No problem at all.
Thank you, brother.
Well, caller, thank you very much for the question, and the fact that you've put the clarity on it now, I can properly answer your question. But earlier on in the program and on the campaign trail, I have been speaking about the issue of rehabilitation in the prison. It was mentioned tonight as part of our four-pronged strategy for addressing the whole issue of crime, and for also making sure that all our citizens have the opportunity to be productive members of the society. For the benefit of the caller, we want to ensure that the time spent in prison is not wasted time. It's not a hotel. You're not on a vacation. We want to make sure that we put programs in place that persons who don't have a high school diploma can obtain one. Persons who don't have the skills, they fall into some skills program that we have there.
You want spotlight? Hold on, please, caller.
At the prison. That we develop a structure that follows you outside of the prison.
Turn your television down, please, Carla, and hold on for a second. Hold on for a couple of minutes. Turn your television down and hold on for a couple of minutes so Mr. Walwyn can finish his point.
Now you're just wishing them out.
Just hold. Okay, go ahead.
I wishing these two young gentlemen very successful campaign and everything good in their life, because I get to see two young black people reaching so far, and no matter what happens, always keep up the good work and don't give up.
Thank you.
That's all I want to say.
Very encouraging. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
Yes.
Finish your point.
Yes, I was saying making sure that the system follows them outside of the prison into job placement. One of the things too that we will teach them while they're in prison is social skills. Because even though, yes, you may have a high school diploma, yes, you may have a trade, you have to know how to interact with people and how to respect people, because it was a lack of respect for persons that landed you there in the first place. So we have to basically transform you and follow you through. And it's not a process that ends when you leave the prison.
Okay. All right, we're blowing up. The phone is blowing up. Okay, can you make the answer short? We just gone through the text.
Not a problem.
Okay, cool. All right, good evening, Marlon. You're making us proud. Myron, as always, you're on the message. Okay, good. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Have the problem with the 8 currently is that it have too many mayors. Truth is, you need a core team, diverse to advise, work together, share, etc.
Exactly, I agree.
There is more than enough to go around. We as BVI lenders have to stop being greedy, get value for money, so that more projects could get done. Okay. Thank you very much for that text.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. That's the wrong thing. I'm not talking about workers. Okay, that's the caller just called. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for calling Spotlight. Go right ahead, please. Go right ahead, please. You're on Spotlight. Yes, go right ahead.
The international consensus on a country's viability and wealth is usually based on their primary facilities, i.e. water, electricity, roads, healthcare. Can someone please comment on what they would like to do to improve ours?
All right, thank you very much for calling. Yeah. You got the question?
No, I didn't hear her well.
Okay. She said a country is, how it's run, and the advancement of the country is based on some primary things like electricity, water, the services, infrastructure and the services and so on. Those things that we all have in common and that we use to make us successful.
Yes.
Health, education, water, sewage, electricity, the economy, those things.
Yes.
Give a general sense of how you're going to improve those things as short as you can.
That's a very long.
I know there's a
very long question.
Give a one-line answer for each one.
Oh boy.
Economy,
as we said, we look at tourism. We will look at maximizing the opportunities that come from the tourism sector. We look at the National Business Bureau to develop new businesses and so on.
Okay, water.
Well, we have to address that issue. We know there's an issue now with Bywater. We are somewhat handicapped with the.
Are you going to look at take away the Bywater contract and give it to the local company?
We will look at that contract to see what is best.
With a fine-tooth comb.
We will look at the contract. Okay. We will visit the contract.
So there's an opportunity to get out of the contract. You will.
Of course.
Of course we will. Yeah.
Okay. No question. Sewage.
I think those two issues are tied together.
Okay. Electricity.
Well, there's an issue there, certainly from a consumer standpoint as well. One of the things
there's several issues there, but go ahead.
Yeah, but at least the biggest one touching most people in the pocket is that fuel surcharge.
The fuel surcharge.
We have to have a study of that to understand what actually is going on there. It seems like
what's going on there is instability in oil prices.
Yeah.
Because the surcharge is normally bigger than what you more than what you use. So, where you going to look for alternative sources of energy?
We have to look at alternative sources of energy. We have to.
Is that a priority? I want the whole country turn into a green country.
The vision
that's what I want.
The vision of the NDP is by 2020 to reduce our dependency on fossil fuels by 50%.
So the plan is reduce fossil fuel by 50%.
Yes, by 2020.
Okay. So education.
We spoke about that before.
We spoke about that. Okay, so we're gonna go to some. That was a call. So Carl, I hope you got a sense of some of the things that they planning to do. Good evening, Mr. Walwyn. If the NDP is elected, how long into office will the people expect to see most of these changes implemented? Does your party already have its financial aid awaiting to resolve the country's economic problems? How long is it going to take to get some of these things done? What do you all have a list of the first things you will do within your first 100 days? You hear that in America.
Yes, we clearly know that know what we're going to tackle first and some of the things that
give me a quick list.
Quickly, the economy. Get that fixed. We spoke about the issue of tourism. Get that up on track. Cost of living is something you can start to attack that from day one. There's some long-term solutions to it, and there's some shorter-term solutions to it that you can address. The issue of alternative energy, you can look at that. The biggest impediment for that is the change in the legislation allowing businesses and homes and so on to do that. Health, we have to certainly, health is a bigger issue because you have to look at the hospital. Yeah, you have to get
you got to look at it down there, big.
Well, yeah. When I say look at it, we got to find out what's the problem. Why is it taking 4 years? Why is it taking 4 years to build a hospital?
To build a shell,
right? Healthcare in Virgin Gorda and the Sister Islands. That's a major issue. What is causing our people to get ill? How are we going to address that?
Okay. Preventative medicine.
Preventative measures as well. How are we going to prevent them from getting ill so that we don't have this huge bulging expense, and so on.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Walwyn. Okay, that's the same one. Let me get that out of the way. Next. Good evening, Mr. Walwyn. Then we elected how long? Okay, so that was towards the same thing came in there. Okay. Thank you for calling Spotlight. Right ahead, please. Speak quickly.
Good night.
Speak.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
I'm just calling in to make a contribution.
Make a contribution quick.
Right now, we need to reserve the crucial to second of detail. And whoever government want to defend the crucial then, I'm done with that. I'm thousand and my friend and said the same thing. Whoever want to defend the crucial then, I'm done with it. I'm done with that government who ready to look out for the crucial. Everybody talking about education, the same thing. It's right, we need educators, but we have to talk about the smart home business a lot more.
All right, let's hear a response. Let's hear a response to them about what they're going to do to cruise ships. Thanks for calling.
Well, certainly the cruise ship business is an integral part of the whole tourism business in the country, and we have to protect that business. The caller would know that when I asked in the House of Assembly a question on what the projections look like for the upcoming season, the Premier answered that we're down by 31%.
Well, what are you going to do to increase our market share in the tourism in the cruise ship?
The major problem, I believe, because when you look at the other sister islands, at some of the other Caribbean islands, they're doing well and projecting increases. Something is wrong. It has to do with our strategy itself. I believe in the cruise ship industry that government should be leading that industry. The way it is now is the agents are leading. They're the ones who are going to the conferences and so on. When you see there's a conference in Florida with cruise ships, the governor of St. Thomas goes himself. It is time for the government to take the lead in that industry and get that industry back to where it needs to be.
Okay. Salaries of many are very small, making it hard for people to pay rent, utilities, etc. What are your plans for encouraging the Department of Labor to consider amending labor code to reflect a raise in a rate of pay. Well, that's not a Department of Labor function, but are you going to give us a minimum wage increase? How are you going to get us? How are you going to get us to be able to afford to live in this high cost jurisdiction we live in?
The thing is, the minimum wage it's not something that you can arbitrarily raise. You have to look at it to see what the ripple effects would be on the business community, unemployment, and other things. Then you have to also ask a question. If you raise the minimum wage, how many persons are you really helping by raising the minimum wage as well? There are certain jobs that you know that there's a max out payment or wage for those jobs, whether hourly or whatever it is. So we have to try and help those people to repackage themselves and get up into a different bracket. But what you can do is look at the issue of cost of living, because if your salary can go up, or if your salary is not going up, but at the same time cost of living is going up, we have to address the issue of cost of living.
How are you going to address the issue of cost of living? How are you going to cost of living stabilize or get it down?
But I know that the past NEP administration commissioned a cost of living assessment, and I know that assessment was handed into the current government. It was not tabled for whatever reason. I think we need to look at the work that was done by that committee.
Are you prepared to initiate price controls?
I would want to say necessarily price control, but what I would say is to make sure that there's some sort of beefed up exercise at the Department of Consumer Affairs, because when you go to Right Way and you go to Bobby's, the same item, night and day. You go to Right Way 1 week, you go back the next week, the price double. Something is wrong there. We have to look at it and see what's going on. There are also some issues that come into there are also some food items that come into the country duty free, right? Is the duty being passed on to the consumer, or is it going straight to the bottom line for businesses? So you need a beefed up. So
you're strengthening the consumer affairs.
Yes, we need to do that.
And like I said, that report should have had all those recommendations that what needs to be done in terms of cost of living in this territory.
But you keep saying that you can't raise the minimum wage.
I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying you cannot arbitrarily raise it. You have to watch what you're doing, because these things have ripple effects in the economy.
Will the NDP raise the tax exemption from $10,000 to $15,000?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to give people more money in
their hand to help the stimulate. But the point is, we don't want to give them more money in their hands to go St. Thomas with it. So we have to address the issue of cost of living here, so that people can have the confidence back in the economy to know that they're getting a good deal when they walk into the stores.
Well, are you going to advocate? Are you going to advocate for the business community that they get paid duty on just the invoice instead of paying duty on the invoice, freight, insurance?
Of course, because government by their own actions are adding to the issue of cost of living.
Yeah, but then you say you're going to beef the consumer affairs, but you're going to have to make sure that I agree, the business people
exactly. And that's
keep the money in your pocket.
That's their job.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's their job.
I got to wrap up. I got to go. Good night, everyone. Myron and Marlon, you are doing a good job. When elected, are you going to outlight by channel? Are you going to put the light out by the channel coming in by the bridge? Are you going to put a light out? You familiar with this?
Yeah. By the bridge,
Are you going to build a better ramp for the fishermen like myself to can pull up our boats? So they want a light somewhere and a ramp. You know where it is?
Yeah, I know the bridge. I know one of the fishermen have complained about the issue where the channel itself has narrowed, and is almost impassable right now for a lot of the bigger vessels. I think we need to clear the channel and allow that area to fall. And of course, if the lighting needs to go there, we have to put back the light. I know there was light before on the reef itself, and for whatever reason it's not there. No.
Regardless of who wins the election, how fast you think the airport should start to develop?
Like yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a matter of national security.
In favor of salary increase for all workers, big and small?
I'm in favor of people making as much money as they can, but we have to look at the reality of the situation.
What I mean, you know, I got to get to you on this. You got this philosophy. We got straight now.
No problem.
You want to work the employees for what you want to work them for, and you want to charge what you want to charge for the thing what the employees have to buy.
Say that again.
What I'm saying is that you want to you don't want to raise the employee salaries.
I didn't say that.
But you want to raise the product what you're selling, so you could make more money. But the people who are making the product, you don't want to raise their salaries. Every time you talk about raising their salaries, you seem like you
no,
have a problem.
Not at all. I don't have a problem with that at all. The point that I'm making is that you can't just do these things blindly. Not because somebody sends you a text and it's election time, you're going to give an answer that's foolish. You can't just arbitrarily raise things like that. There's a ripple effect that comes along with it.
And why your concern is about giving everybody across the board a wage increase?
If it's possible for it to be done, I am all for it. But somebody has to pay at the end of the day, especially the government, and it might be you, the taxpayer. So we have to be careful what we do. If there's an opportunity there, yes, of course, I will fully support it.
I agree.
I have no problem with that. But you can't just do things arbitrarily like that.
Okay, let's you get away from only because out of time you get away with that.
You can invite me back.
You will surely come back.
All right, you have wait, let me see if I get in another. Okay, I can't get another text. Let me see. Wait a second. Hold on a second. I can get in this one. If you open up the voting to the proxy system, there will be room for abuse. The proxy system was used some years ago.
And
it has people.
voted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's a comment.
I guess that was in response to the person who called and said
already.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So we are on the 30 o'clock. Make a pitch, tell people why they should vote for y'all. You know.
Yeah, go first. All right. Go first, man. All right. All right. I just want to say good evening again to the people of the 8th District. You should vote for me because I will get my hands dirty and get the job done. We had enough talking in the 8th District. It's time for somebody to get the job done who has a plan to develop the economy of the 8th District and the economy of the Virgin Islands, and to develop the people of the Virgin Islands and the 8th District.
Good evening to the people again, and Edwinka, I want to again thank you for having us on your show tonight. Marlon and myself laid out some plans that are the plans of the National Democratic Party. Where we are in this country at this current time, we need leaders who are forward-thinking, leaders who respect the people, prepare to work with the people to make life better for all these Virgin Islands. We invite you to listen to us some more on the campaign trail as we roll out our plans to make this country a better country. We believe of the teams contesting the election, we are the better team. We have the better candidates, we have the better message, we have much more vision, and we can take this country where it needs to go, and we're asking you tonight for your support for the entire NDP team.
But thank you very much for coming, and
Thank you for having us.
It was my pleasure to have you and that you answer the questions forthrightly. So thanks again for being my guest on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, tomorrow night we're going to have the Miss Teen BVI. It's going to be a little break, you know, to loosen up, tackle our young people, or the young ladies about, you know, how they're going to what their career paths are, how they are, you know, how they're going to perform, and to support them and encourage them in the activities that they're going to be doing. So we're going to lighten up a little bit. I'm hoping to get the member, the current representative of the 2nd District, J. Alvin, because for the command on Wednesday night. But I haven't been able to form it up yet, but they're talking about it now because I want to put a little pressure on him. So, so hopefully J. Alvin, Honorable J. Alvin, that's my partner. Honorable J. Alvin, I hope you come on and talk about the district and set the record straight. So we're looking to see if Honorable J. Alvin will come on Wednesday night. But, you know, we're very happy that we are having the success that we are having with the candidates coming on, and I'm sure that you're benefiting from it, and you're able to make some informed and intelligent decisions in taking our country forward. Of course, you know, Spotlight is on JTV on Tuesday evenings. Regular Spotlight is on Tuesday evenings. We've been having special editions Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays during the election campaign season. But you could tune in Tuesdays at 8 and get the regular spotlight. Also, you could go online to jtvlive.net, and you could see the show that you missed, the shows that you missed, which is a great thing. So check that out. What else? And of course, Sunday afternoons at 4:30, you could also see the Tuesday evening program as well. So you could look at us online, jtvlive.net, or Sunday afternoons at 4:30. So we want you to, well, the list was already moved, the voters list. I hope that you check to make sure that your name is on there, and make sure you vote. You got to listen very carefully to these candidates, because you know the English language is very, very tricky. So make sure you get the answers. Thanks again for your word of encouragement, suggestions and criticisms. Continue to email me at jtvspotlight@yahoo.com. I'm Edrenko, reminding you that when the spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
This program is sponsored by the law firm of J.S. Archibald & Co. and by the trust company J.S. Archibald Trust Services Limited, both of Roadtown, Tortola, BVI.